The tension was a live wire crackling between us. John stood inches away in our cramped Miami apartment, his hands on me, breath shaky with want. "If you want me to stay," I whispered, voice barely there, heavy with intent, "you'll need to make Claire see I belong here, not her." His eyes widened, the weight of the choice sinking in, and I knew exactly how to make him choose me. I woke to the bed frame thumping the wall, thud, 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 John's low moans cutting through the dark. But Claire's side was silent, unnaturally still. The sound was urgent, heavy, yet she didn't stir, like she'd gone numb to it. I'd moved in a week ago, renting a room to save for a fresh start, thinking it'd be simple, cheap rent, no drama. But this was messier than I'd imagined. John's energy filled the place, raw, undeniable, while Claire seemed checked out, like she'd stopped caring. Was she to blame for letting it fade? I pushed the thought away, my mind spinning in the tangled trap I'd stumbled into. No going back now. Days blurred, each one bleeding into the next. John's attention was impossible to ignore, not blatant but lingering. A look that lasted too long, a reason to be in the same room. One morning in the kitchen, he leaned too close, his hand brushing mine as he reached for the sugar. "You always look so effortless," he said, voice calm but eyes saying more. I smiled, trying to shrug it off. "Guess it's just natural." "Natural, huh?" His gaze held mine, studying me too closely. "Not many try that hard and make it look so easy." Before I could answer, Claire walked in, her eyes flicking between us, her smile tight as she grabbed the coffee pot. The air thick and heavy with unspoken strain. Later that day, I was washing my face when the door swung open. John stepped in, eyes apologetic, but sharp with something else. "Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt," he said, though his gaze lingered, catching how my loose shirt clung to my damp skin. I blinked, feeling exposed. "Just needed a second." He smiled, eyes holding longer. "Didn't expect someone so put together hiding out here." He turned, but added, "Enjoy your night like nothing had happened." After dinner, he cornered me in the hallway. "Never seen anyone with a figure like yours," he said, words hanging heavy, unmistakable. He wasn't just being friendly. Claire appeared at the hall's end, eyes narrowing. "Everything okay here?" Her voice was sharp. John straightened, flashing his usual grin. "Just talking." I wasn't sure if I felt flattered or trapped. It was clear now John was interested, and Claire knew even if she didn't say it. I didn't sleep. The tension between me, John, and Claire was suffocating. I needed to clear the air with Claire before it got worse. Leaving wasn't an option. I needed this room, couldn't start over. I took a deep breath and stepped into the kitchen where Claire was making coffee. My heart pounded. "Claire, can we talk?" She didn't look up right away, but when she did, her eyes were cold. About what I forced calm, about John. "I never meant for things to get out of hand. I just want us to be okay." She gripped her mug, then slammed it on the counter. "You think I'm blind?" she hissed. "You think I don't see what's happening?" My pulse raced. "What do you mean?" She stepped closer, eyes chilling the room. "I see how he looks at you, the way you dress, act around him. Don't pretend you're innocent." I swallowed, staying steady. "I haven't done anything." Her eyes narrowed. "Then why is he suddenly so interested? Why do you dress like you're begging for his attention?" Her words hit like a slap. "I didn't want this. I never meant to hurt you." She laughed, bitter, twisted. "You think you can take him. If you don't leave, I'll make sure John kicks you out." Her threat hung heavy, stealing my breath. "Please, I didn't want any of this," I whispered. Claire stepped closer, voice icy. "I'll show him what you're doing if you don't go. I'll make sure he does." Her words choked me. Without another word, I turned, fled to my room, and slammed the door. I collapsed on the bed, tears I'd held back spilling over. Should I leave, cut myself free from this mess, or stay and risk it all? Claire's words echoed. Was I the cause? Or was it her jealousy I didn't know anymore? I lay curled up, trapped in a situation I hadn't chosen, the future murky, my mind a mess. I wiped the last tears away, unsure if I should stay or go, but something held me here, maybe the rent, maybe defiance. Then a knock at the door. My heart skipped. It had to be John. Would he comfort me or side with Claire? "Come in," I whispered, breathless. The door creaked open, and there he was, John, worry in his eyes, but something urgent beneath. "Lena," he said, voice low. "I heard what happened. You okay?" I stood still, unsure. He closed the door, his presence filling the room. His eyes traced my legs before meeting my face. "I'm fine," I whispered. His hand brushed my knee, hesitant at first, then lingering. "You don't have to go," he said softly. "I want you to stay. I don't know what's going on with you and Claire, but I need you here." I blinked, caught off guard. No back and forth, no hesitation. He needed me, and not just for small talk. I realized then I held the power. John was invested, and now it was my move. I slid closer, my hand grazing his thigh. He tensed but didn't pull back. Instead, he leaned down, breath ragged. "I don't know if I can stay," I said, voice soft, vulnerable. "Claire doesn't want me here, and I can't change that." His jaw clenched. "I can, Lena. I don't want her pushing you out. I don't want you to go." His hand moved up my leg, bolder now. The heat between us was undeniable, and I knew I could use it. He was desperate to keep me. I let him feel the shift in my mood. "If you want me to stay, John," I said, voice low, sultry, "you'll need to make her see I belong here. I'm not the problem." His hand slid higher, eyes burning with hunger need. He was ready to give in. I closed the gap, lips brushing his cheek, his breath hitching. His hand settled on my shoulders, pulling me closer, his kiss urgent, desperate. I let him kiss me deeply, feeling the heat, but pulled back just as fast. "If you want me to stay," I whispered, steady but breathless, "you'll need to talk to your wife. Make her understand, John, or I can't stay." He froze, the urgency in his eyes telling me everything. The sound of their argument filtered through the thin walls. John's defensive voice, Claire's sharp accusations, a chaotic mess. But I could tell who was winning. A small smile tugged at my lips. My plan was working. John was mine now. Claire had lost him, and there was no going back. I closed my eyes, letting the power settle. My words, my actions, they'd changed everything. I was in control, and I wasn't letting go. The next morning, the apartment air was thick with unspoken discord. John and Claire barely spoke, but I felt the weight of their fractured silence from the night before. Claire was in the kitchen when I walked in. She didn't look up, but I knew she felt it, the shift, the change. John had made his choice, and it wasn't her. She glanced up, anger flashing in her eyes before she masked it with something darker. She knew she couldn't push me out anymore. I stepped closer, voice even. "I'm not here to make things harder, but you heard what happened. John wants me here." Her eyes narrowed, a bitter laugh escaping. "You think I'll let you come between us?" I met her gaze, calm, firm. "I'm not coming between you. Maybe you should have paid more attention to him before I showed up." For a split second, I saw a crack in her resolve, the realization that John had chosen. She could accept it or lose him for good. "I can't keep pretending," she muttered more to herself. "I can't lose him." I stepped closer, voice soft but steady. "Then you'll have to accept it. I'm not going anywhere. She stared at me, the struggle clear in her eyes. She wasn't ready to let go, but she had no choice. She needed John emotionally, financially, and I knew it. Finally, she sighed, the weight of her decision crushing her. I don't want to lose him, she whispered. I'll deal, but don't play games with him. Be straight. I nodded, victory settling in. John had chosen, and I wasn't going anywhere. We stood there, the air heavy with unspoken words. The dynamic had shifted completely. Claire had surrendered, left with no choice but to accept me. I was here to stay. A knock came later than I expected, but I knew it was John. I'd been waiting, my pulse quickening at the sound. No turning back now. I opened the door, his eyes burning with want. He stepped in, no words, his movements quick, eager. But as he looked at me, there was a flicker of hesitation, like he needed permission. Lena, he started, but I cut him off with a slow, teasing smile. Shh, I whispered, pressing a finger to my lips. Don't talk, just show me. He didn't waste time. As I closed the door, he stepped close, his face hovering near mine, lips brushing mine lightly at first, then fierce. The intensity of his kiss sent heat through me. His hands explored, eager, but I pulled back, staying calm. Too eager, I said softly, locking eyes. Let's see how long you can wait. I led him to the bed's edge, watching him sit, eyes dark with desire. I knelt before him, savoring the moment, the heat rising in the air. My fingers traced his body, slow, feeling the quick rise of his chest. I smiled, noticing how he reacted beneath his clothes. Hungry, aren't you? I said, voice low, playful as my hands slid up his thighs. He didn't speak, but his eyes screamed need. I think you should indulge me, John. He didn't hesitate, pulling me closer, hands on my thighs. I let him take control for a moment, leaning back as he kissed along my inner thigh, my breath catching as he moved closer. His lips grazed just enough to make me shudder. Don't be shy, I whispered, a sly smile on my lips. I want to hear you. He growled, his touch finally reaching me, and I sighed at the sensation. He was skilled, and I couldn't resist praising him. Yes, just like that, I said, voice thick with want. You make me feel so good, John. His response was a low, desperate sound, his body tense, losing control. I wasn't done with him. I let him continue, waves of pleasure building inside me. As he grew more eager, I pulled him up, pushing him back onto the bed. I climbed over him, never breaking eye contact. You've waited long enough, I whispered, easing his shorts down. I leaned closer, feeling his heat near my lips, his moans spurring me on. I took him deeper, teasing just enough to keep him on edge, wanting him hungrier. I pulled back, eyes on his chest as he gripped the sheets, desperate. You're close, aren't you? I said softly, voice a whisper. He wasn't done with me, though. Without waiting, I straddled him, leaning forward to kiss him again, the heat between us undeniable, the hunger thick. I sank onto him slowly, a soft sigh escaping as I took him fully. I moved deliberately, savoring him inside me. The room filled with the sound of our bodies, each motion, each sigh louder, more urgent. His hands gripped my hips as I moved, his ragged breaths driving me. But I wanted more. I wanted to be sure she heard us. I quickened the pace, our bodies' sounds echoing through the thin walls. Every moan I let out, every breath he took was for her. I pushed harder, faster, making each sound carry. Yes, I gasped loudly, the pressure building inside. Can you hear it, John? She can hear us. She knows. His eyes flashed with realization, and I couldn't help but smile. He groaned louder, and I leaned in, pushing him deeper, the tension spiking with every move. I made sure it was deep, fast, loud, imagining her on the other side of the wall, hearing every sound. John's hands gripped my back, holding tight as I pushed harder. I could feel him nearing the edge, but I wasn't done. I pushed him back again, taking control, leaning over him, my body moving with growing urgency. His sounds grew louder, desperate, and I urged him on. When I finally let him take over, he flipped me, gripping my hips, pulling me forward. Each thrust was stronger, our rhythm filling the room louder than ever. The tension built, the release teetering on the edge. With one final desperate push, we both hit the peak, our sounds of release flooding the room as we collapsed, gasping. The silence after was heavy with satisfaction. As I caught my breath, I smiled. The game had just begun, and I knew how to play it. In the days that followed, my hold over John and Claire grew stronger. John became devoted, focused on pleasing me, his own desires fading into mine. He no longer hesitated, fully committed to keeping me in his life. When circumstances demanded, he still gave Claire time, but their connection had shifted. She felt the change, her affection no longer what it was, but she didn't fight it. She'd accepted things were different. John's loyalty to me was unquestionable, and I relished the power it gave me. He didn't resist anymore. I'd gotten what I wanted, a relationship built on understanding, not control. Claire faded into the background, no longer vying for his attention. She'd adapted to the new dynamic, not sad, but resigned. This was my reality now, a delicate balance that worked for me. What do you think of John? Was he just lost in the moment, or would he always choose me? I'm curious. Drop it in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more. You won't want to miss what's next. Thanks for watching.